Getting started with War Thunder is easy. Just go to the website, create an account, download and install the game, and click on the To Battle button. That's it. We could have stopped there. But if you want to do everything right, you might find it useful to learn about a few specifics. If you watch this brief video, you'll have an easier time figuring out the game, so you'll have more fun and avoid a couple of rookie mistakes. So, how do you get started in War Thunder? The first thing you do is choose the type of war machines you want to play, planes or tanks. Then, pick a country. There are 5 at the moment: the United States, Germany, the Soviet Union, Great Britain, and Japan. The Americans boast a wide selection of weapons, as well as some of the most formidable bombers. The Germans are masters of the boom and zoom, and often dominate at higher altitudes. The Soviet Air Force has the advantage in high-speed dogfights at low and medium altitudes. The Brits are even across the board. And the Japanese Air Force is exceptionally maneuverable at lower altitudes. Needless to say, this isn't the last step, but it's an important one. You can't unlock other countries until you've completed 10 sorties. Moreover, after your first battle, you'll be offered, and this happens only once, a free premium aircraft. This plane gives you a decent bonus to research points and in-game currency, and it belongs to whichever country you selected at the beginning. So, let's choose the USA. The first thing you will see is a brief tutorial. It'll show you how to drive or fly and shoot. You should at least know the basics before you take off, right? Give it a couple of minutes and then you can get right into the action. This is your hangar. Your available vehicles are displayed here. At a first glance, the interface looks a little complex, so let's take a closer look. The first thing you'll notice is this hefty To Battle button, but we're not quite there yet. First, let's set up the controls in the menu tab. Tank and plane controls can be set up either manually or using a convenient wizard tool. We suggest the second option. It'll save you some time, and you can go back and tweak some of the finer points individually later. We'll talk a little more about controls in the next video. You can find the list of all available vehicles in the Research tab. The aircraft research screen is called Aviation, and the ground vehicle screen is dubbed Army. Let's order an additional crew slot in the hangar. This will allow us to return to battle once again if we get shot down. It is time for battle. There are currently 3 available combat modes. Arcade is basic and exciting, and you can bring in new planes if you get shot down so you can fly back into the fray. Realistic mode is a little harder, and each player only gets 1 life. Simulator mode is a realistic option for really hardcore pilots. It only allows for cockpit view. There's no third-person camera. If you dig a little deeper, you'll find that the differences between the various modes are a bit more substantial and actually run deep into the game's physics, but we'll provide more details about these in future videos. For now, let's choose the arcade and try to punish somebody. That's the end of the first battle. So, what happens now? Well, you have unlocked a couple of new modules. The game will give you the option of purchasing them or select new modules for research. Mouse over them to see which bonuses they grant. By the way, the first plane you get isn't exactly new. In fact, it will look a little worse for wear, but you can gradually tune it up to brand new. At the same time, you unlock new equipment for various combat roles, whether you're eliminating ground targets or other aircraft. You can find a list of available modifications in the modifications section. So, what else happens at the end of a battle? We have received some experience and some silver lions, a currency you can use to buy vehicles and modules. Our crew has finally learned a thing or two. Let's go to the special section and see how many points we can spend. By the way, you can watch the battle you just fought in the replay section. Your last 10 battles are stored there. Watching replays can be a useful way to analyze your mistakes and improve your dogfighting tactics and strategies. Oh, and it's also a great way to show off your victories. You can view your personal progress by clicking on your screen name. The game will show you your service record, including your number of combat sorties and achievements earned. Since we just fought our first battle, there isn't much to look at here yet, but eventually your flight book could look something like this. So, that's it for the aircraft. All War Thunder players also have access to tanks. There are 3 countries with ground vehicles right now: Germany, the USA, and the USSR. Tank and air battles share the same game client. The hangar works exactly the same way, except you have to select tank battles before you click the To Battle button. Tank battles also have 3 modes: arcade, realistic, and simulator. Let's start with the arcade mode. The results of the battle are what you would expect: research points, in-game currency, modules, and finally, crew skill points. From now on, we'll earn RP and silver after every battle, unlocking new vehicles under research, then upgrading them, and training your crew. We'll go all over this in future videos. Before we wrap this up, there's probably one last important question for new players. What are the best graphics settings? We can max the game out on our professional rig, but cheaper GPUs might require a little tweaking. If you don't want to tweak every last setting manually, we suggest you select one of the basic settings, such as low, medium, or high, as a foundation, and then fine-tune the details. The effects that put the most strain in your video card are shadows, trees, grass, and clouds. If you're getting low FPS, start by turning off trees and grass. You won't really be seeing them that much anyway. It happens only when you're a couple of 100 feet from the ground. Tinker with the clouds after that, and tweak the shadows last. There are also a number of effects. While very cool, don't come out that often. For example, enhanced waves or haze effect. You can go ahead and turn these off too. The game features a benchmark to help you check your graphics settings. We recommend the Eastern Front mode. All your PC's resources will be tested in it. The benchmark tool will play a handful of combat scenes of varying degrees of complexity, then give you a result, including the average and minimum frame rates. Try to maintain a minimum frame rate of 30 FPS for an optimal experience. Did you get less than 30? Turn the settings down a little more. In extreme cases, there is a button labeled Older GPU Compatibility for severely underpowered rigs. The graphics get a lot worse in this mode, especially the landscape, but the vehicle models will still look decent. Well, that's just about everything you need to know before clicking that To Battle button. In our future videos, we'll talk about the finer points of the combat system, discuss the best ways to level up, and learn even more about planes and tanks in War Thunder. See you in the skies!